host three of these of the year, tackling topics that are going to be impact for every small business, lobsters, and of course to all the small business world. So I want to be very tight with the agenda today. We have amazing speakers. We have our CEO in place. So we have something to show you. But now, Sashani, would you please give me the honors to give this announcement to the over lobsters?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our Silver Summit. And this Silver Summit, the topic is togetherness and impact. And why do we feel it's important to tackle this topic? Because the world is going crazy. The world is going crazy. We're forgetting to include each other. We're forgetting that diversity is important. We are forgetting that your ideal client belongs to a diverse group, chances are. And what we want to do is to double down on the importance of catering to everyone across every community. So, togetherness and impact. And that's why we're here today. We have an awesome lineup. We've worked really hard to put it together for you. And we hope that we'll represent all the communities that are relevant to you. But before I hand over to Carissa, I have a very strong question. Did you RSVP yet for NYC? We are celebrating our 20th anniversary. And while we want you to celebrate with us, there are several reasons why you should be there. And as we always say, using your time and money is important. Can you think of a better way to use your time and money than being in a room of like-minded people? That could be your clients, your partners, that could be your advisors. If you haven't yet, I'm strongly recommending that you RSVP. And once you RSVP, you'll hear from me. Without further ado, I want to hand over to our founder and CEO, Carissa. Many of you know her. Some of you have met her in person recently, and she'll definitely be in New York. That's another reason to RSVP now. Carissa, can you take over? Let us know what we're about to discuss.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sash. It's worth noting that Sashini will also be in New York. So there are many reasons to come to New York, most certainly not just me. There's going to be an incredible community. I think right now we've got about 60 Slapsters that are going to be coming in, flying in, driving in, training in. So we're going to have a really incredible representation from our Slapster community. We've got about 25 of our partners coming in from around the world. 19 of the Silver Lining team members are coming in from around the world. My entire family is coming from Canada. So you'll meet all the Reinigers. It's just going to be the most beautiful, wonderful, fun time to be together. So in the theme of togetherness, I am looking forward to hopefully having some beautiful time together with many of you. Now, on that theme, the reason that we wanted the Silver Summit today to have this theme of togetherness is that, as Sashini has said, we're watching sort of an attempt globally to pull us apart. There is a growing amount of chaos, distraction, conflict, fighting, tariffs. I always say when America's turned on Canada, we know things have really gone wrong. Who wants to pick on Canada? I mean, come on. But it is sort of funny and sort of terrifying to think about the strategy of so many leaders right now, which is to sow dissent and discord, to make it inappropriate to talk about inclusion and diversity. And as I keep saying very loudly, I am prepared to double down on all of those things, because those are the things that make Silver Lining amazing. Those are the things that make this a community I'm proud to be a part of. Those are the things that make Silver Lining the company that it is. And so while there is this pushback against diversity, equity, inclusion, being woke, I keep saying none of these are political issues. The concept of celebrating our beautiful differences, the concept of wanting to live in a world where people can have equality, regardless of the body they were born in or the country they live in, the concept of being inclusive and people feeling safe and like they belong, the concept of being woke to the problems of the world and wanting to understand them deeply enough that we can do something about them. these are not crazy ideas. These are not even political ideas. These just are ideas that make sense. This is a good way to be humans together. And one of the things that I am watching in my friend group, in our community, in our partner group, is that it is easier and easier to start fighting with each other, to live in conflict and fear and anxiety. And I'm hopeful. I don't know what all the right answers are. I spend every day listening deeply and trying to figure out what the heck the right thing to do is in this moment, and what an adequate level of resistance is to the things that we're seeing and experiencing and facing. But what I definitely know is that being in it together is critical. Beyond that, I then think we figure out what we do together to protect the collective, to make sure that the people we love are safe, to make sure that we're fighting to be on the right side of justice and the right side of history. But together is really the key, is that sort of in a lack of clarity on exactly what to do, and a lack of clarity on exactly the right strategy, what we can know for sure, what we can rest in deeply, what we can be quadruple double down committed to, is that we need to do it together. We need to be in it together, more important now than ever. And so today is really that. It is a celebration of being together. There's no answers, there's no rules, there's no pitching that we've got it all figured out. It's really the community listening deeply to each other's experiences, really trying to be here from a place of curiosity with each other. How are people doing? What are people's experiences? And what can we all do to listen deeply, learn as much as possible, stand up and be together with our community members, with each other? I will offer that, and I say this all the time because it's an important caveat. In conversations like this, I am living in a white body. I have a Canadian passport, which historically has been a very safe place to be, maybe less so today. However, I have a lot of privilege in the body I was born into and the country I was born into. And so I have a lot of safety in being able to sort of stand up for these things. And so there's a reason that, again, I want to acknowledge that we use the word together as opposed to the word standing up for justice or standing. Some people are at much more risk to stand up right now. And so that is also why being together matters so deeply, because some of us will have bodies and voices and locations and realities where we can say things that others can't, where we have more safety in being bold in our togetherness than others. And so I just want to sort of commit to our community that is a vocal place I am thrilled to be in, and that I take very responsibly. And I acknowledge even the privilege of being able to say that I'm prepared to keep standing up and fighting for these ideals, these ideas of inclusivity, justice, being together. So not all of us have that. And if that's the case for anyone in this room, and it's not appropriate for you to be loud and vocal, that makes sense. And we'll be in it together. We'll have a collective voice where all of us do what is right for us. And we support each other, which is really the purpose of today. So with that being said, the stars of the show today are some incredible members of the Silver Lining community who have been, I think, very courageous and very generous, and have offered to just share their experiences with us. I'm planning, this is an offside thing, but I'm planning a trip to Myanmar where there's a huge amount of conflict right now. So I'm planning a trip for 24 people to go to Myanmar in about 3 weeks. And we did a briefing with a bunch of senior level leaders and people in the government a couple of days ago. And my biggest takeaway from the briefing was that we as foreigners are safer going into Myanmar than locals. And that actually our job when we go to Myanmar is probably not to fix it. It's probably to just listen, to be in community, to be in relationship, to try to understand the complexity of what's happening, and to not make it our problem, but to make it our mission to be in it with the people who are trying to figure out how to live in a country that's going through such a hard time. So I would offer that today. Let's make a commitment as a community. Let's not solve anyone's problems. Let's not put suggestions into chat for how someone can heal their trauma or how somebody should do something differently. let's keep our opinions to ourselves. Let's make this an opinion-free place. And instead, I think the way that we can exercise our leadership is by being really present listeners, being fully engaged in each other's stories, asking ourselves what we can take away from the people who share, and how we can understand our own maybe context or reality, or our ability to be helpful and more together in community with each other. But I'm just going to really encourage you guys, we'll monitor chat. No opinions, suggestions, helpful tips. We're not here to fix each other's experiences. We're here to be together in our shared experiences. We're here to listen to each other's stories. Make sense? Is that fair? All right. So as we do that, the first fabulous Slapster who is going to take the floor, and I really do mean this. I think it is beautifully generous to share your stories today for each of you who are doing it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We are calling Jerome Archer to the stage. Jerome is the owner of Platinum Cuts Inc. And he's going to share from his experience. Oh, he's going to share from the car. He's like Jerry Seinfeld, you know that show, Comedians in Cars with Coffee. We've got Jerome in cars in America. All right, Jerome, let's hand it to you.
How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
Hope all
How
is
are you
well.
doing?
No complaints. Today is a blessed but sad day. We're burying my aunt today. On our way to the burial now. I got the days mixed up, but this is important to me as well, and I know she will understand because I have had these conversations with her, and the times I have been in it, just in explaining to her, what I'm going through and where I'm trying to be, and she knows about this, so she would very much be proud of me right now at this moment. But what would you like to know?
Oh, Sashini, do you want to jump in with maybe we can give Jerome prompting questions, the same questions you gave everyone.
Sure. Awesome, Jerome. So the importance of your community. I mean, you are representing the community of Black men, small business owners, and we wanted to know what are some of the challenges that you face as a Black man in business, and then what are some of the opportunities for you as a Black man in business. So that's a good place to start.
Okay. I wouldn't call it difficulties. I just realize it's more of me. Everything that's new is always going to be challenging because it's new. So for the first part is the trust, because I own a unisex salon, so you know how that goes in every um, race. People trust who they know to cut their hair. If it's a Black person, usually we go to Black people. If there's Dominicans usually go to Dominicans. But the way my neighborhood is changing so quickly, um, me learning how to speak their language to get them to engage with us, me giving them opportunities to let's say necessarily, if somebody's walking by, I have to figure out how to get them to engage in my barbershop, how to get them to engage and for my beauticians. So that's one of the most challenging things I have, as far as language, learning how to basically speak the common language of hello, goodbye, thank you. That's sort of a challenging thing. That's one um that's one way we try to figure out to get new races or new people that's moving just into the neighborhood to engage with us. And what's positive from it is once you get one, you're gonna get two, because word of mouth is mainly the way to go. For me, in the 27 years I've been in business, I know we got social media and we got those type of platforms, but for me, working with the person that I could touch, working with the person I could see every day, is more of building relationships for the community, not just for Black people, but for I have Indian, I have Asians now. We have a couple of white males and white females that come in and get their hair done now. So that's the most positive thing I could say for the barbershop um, today is the new relationships. And the more I'm able to, what's the word? Relate to far as it could be basketball, it could be football, it could be one of their favorite TV shows where we are able to engage and build a relationship just on those parts. And then the major parts, like you were speaking earlier about Canada and the United States, France, and all these into play, not necessarily as speaking directly to the client, but in the whole barbershop setting of different races and different opinions. And that is one of the most positive things because if I could understand what you're thinking, you can understand what I'm thinking. Our relationship personally becomes better, not necessarily nationally yet, but more of regional, where I know you live on this block and I know a person that could communicate with you in certain ways to um better understand me because I already have a relationship with this person, which is the same race as that person. So it's more of a learning process for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jerome. And at the flip side to the question, Jerome, are you still with us? Okay.
Yes,
I
I'm
think
still, it was a little glitch.
a, a perspective to that we would want to explore is you and your beautiful family. When you look at connecting with other small business service providers or other businesses that you use as a Black man, how do you make those decisions? You know, what's important to you? Is it important to you that they're supporting Black communities, so you support that business? Or, you know, how do you make decisions to choose the businesses that you work with?
Um, is the initial contact, like, is your first impression. So say for instance, if I was trying to throw an event at the barbershop, right? And naturally I use the restaurants in the community. Um, as I walk into your business, it's how you treat me as an individual first. So, we all know there's racism out and there's different levels of racism. So it could be something simple of how you doing? Can I place your order? And the person says to me, what do you want? That is a that is a red flag for me because you're not, I know you're representing your business, but as a client, and I walk in as a Black man, and then I could be standing there and the same question could be asked by a person of your race or a person of a race you respect more than a Black person. And I see that you um necessarily give them a certain type of professionalism that you don't give me. That's one of the ways I separate myself from dealing with this business and dealing with and dealing with this company.
Thank you, Jerome. Are you particularly worried about um, any economic or any just societal issues that you think is affecting Black men in business right now? Is there anything that you think is particularly concerning to you and your business, of course?
Yes, it's been for years now. It's more of opportunities. It's more of the red carpet treatment. It's more of finding funding or special advances just for Black men, Black community. Um, give you an example. It's more special programs now. I'm gonna use SLAP as the example. I've been in business in 27 years, never had an opportunity like SLAP that especially provided for men like me or minorities, right? Um, Special business loans that we may need or qualifications that I feel that are added on because of you have a special social security number or you come from another country. Like like CEO said, growing up privileged because of her skin in the country she was raised in. Those are the main concerns I have as a Black man in my community because the way they are receiving or providing special services for other races to advance in not like our community. We're being priced out. We're being um knowledge is not being presented to Black individuals to succeed. But we could see other businesses coming in and getting special loans and opportunities because of their race or because of they moving into the country as far as for example what the immigrants have received because they are immigrants. Black men and Black businesses are not receiving the same type of treatment. That's my problem in my community because we had these businesses in these places for years, but all of a sudden, all the businesses is being filled up because business loans and education and stuff like that is being presented to other races other than Black men and Black females in my community. So that's one of the challenges I really have and concerns I have with um me being placed or me being able to survive in this economy and this the way my community is building up now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jerome, for sharing, and hello to your beautiful family also. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
my wife, and these are
Hi
my three sons back
guys.
there.
Oh my gosh, so cute. Oh, hi
hi,
guys.
and our condolences.
Yeah.
All the
Very
best to
much.
you.
And before we leave, before we let you go, Jerome, I know you've got a very important day today. What is the number one way that we can support you? How do we as a community rally around you? If you could wave a magic wand, how can we be the most supportive to you? What can we best do?
Um, Continue supporting me the way you are. Give me actions and calls and meets to keep me motivated, keep me moving, being confident. That's what I get the most from seeing this life, seeing the results, seeing the attention, and just opportunities.
Amazing.
Just amazing opportunities you give me to learn. Because the more I know, necessarily I give away to people that in my mind could really benefit from. You know, I've introduced guys that are moving into businesses and females moving into businesses of the opportunities and the lessons I'm learning. And it's coming through conversation. It's not just coming because of um me being in business long. A lot of people have seen the confidence in my face and how I dress and how focused I am. So I love to give that away and ask people to look into the Slack Center and LinkedIn and all those other opportunities.
Jerome, yeah,
Well,
that makes me. Oh, go ahead. Do you need to go?
I'm sorry. No, we're turning into the cemetery now, and this
Oh,
is gonna get
Jerome.
very emotional. So
Of
I really
course.
appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I appreciate everybody and their statements and the hearts I just received on my screen. It makes me feel well, and I just want to say I appreciate the Slack. So
No,
many
Jerome,
ways.
we appreciate you. And I have to say, to be in business for 27 years, to do all that you would have had to have done to create that business and to sustain it for these years, is incredible. So thank you for what you've done so far. And please hang up on us and go take care of your family. But the fact that you gave us this time, is really precious. So thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Slack family. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We're sending you guys love.
I'm still gonna listen in because I still want listen to everybody else. Stories, it's always inspirational to be a part of something like this.
You're welcome as long as we can have you. And whenever you need to go, know that we understand, and we're sending you guys love.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jerome.
Bye.
That was really beautiful. It's really beautiful to keep remembering that when the systems feel so broken, the togetherness is really so individual. I love that part of Jerome's story, the individual interactions, how we are with each other in one-on-one settings is so important. So that was wonderful. All right. What I know will be wonderful as well is we have Jessica Alvarez. Can I just say one thing? This is the plight of being a white woman. I can say no words properly. I have no accent. I've got no flair. Jessica, I'm sure I said your last name wrong. Can you say it right for me?
It's Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Yeah.
Okay, close. All right. But Jessica, you're amazing. I was actually just looking at your SLAP stats earlier, and they're very good. Very well done. Jessica is the founder and CEO of WE Real Estate Management. And Jessica, you're a pleasure. I always see when you're on screen, you've got such a beautiful energy. It's such a joy to see that you're building your business in the way you are. And I am going to very joyfully hand the floor over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was super excited to get invited to speak just because community is such a big part of who I am and, what I stand for as far as like my business. So I want to start with like a quick story of why I'm in business and all the fears that I face. But when I was raised by my single mom, she was an immigrant. She's an immigrant from the Dominican Republic. And she was constantly like working dead-end jobs and, cleaning houses and working at Taco Bell. Nothing wrong with that, but all that stuff. And one time during the 80s, they had like the amnesty program where like they were giving all these visas to immigrants in California, in LA. And she said, well, I have a pencil. She finished like 5th grade. So she didn't even finish like the whole school. She was like, I know how to read and I have a pencil. So let me help these immigrants fill out their paperwork so they can get their residency. And she just started helping like one person. She told me the story again the other day. She charged like $20 like per person or something. And she ended up getting like all these clients and from word of mouth and became really successful. Like that year she made over like 500,000. And for a single mom raising 3 daughters, it was a huge thing. She was in the wrong relationship with the wrong guy, not surrounded by community. She didn't know how to run a business or anything. So she didn't have mentorship, no like financial literacy or support system. And she lost everything. But with that, she like lost her confidence, her financial stability. And like, I never saw that side of her again, right? So that experience like really shaped me, but it also scared me. So instead of me like going the entrepreneur route right away, I went like the college and corporate world. And after like several years of doing that, I was a single mom myself, and I went to college by myself. I was literally working, I was 19, working 9 to 5. I had a son and my mom would help me take care of him. But I also was going to college at night, like from 6 to 10 and partying at the same time because I was 19. So it was a really interesting, then after a while, like my son's now 28. And when he turned about 21, that he decided to move to LA. I was like, okay, well, I'm feeling tired because usually you're like on survival mode, right? You're like, you got to go, 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 go. And once he left the house and I didn't have to decide where I was going to live because what school he was going to go to, I kind of let my guard down and I really started feeling unfulfilled in my jobs and tired. So during that time at corporate in 20, I had a business. A business fell into my lap where I started managing some medical office buildings through a friend. And in 2021, I finally decided to take the leap and go full time on my job. But I knew it was scary. It was really scary and I was broke. And I knew that there were 2 things that I needed to have, like the mentorship to guide me like where I needed to go because I didn't know how to get there. And then the community to support me. And so with a broke budget, what I did was I really just looked into all these DEI programs, where they were giving free mentorship, workshops, anything that I could get my hands on, I would do it. I would show up like networking events that I didn't even know were like aligned with my business, but I just wanted to meet the right people. So by the end of my first year, I doubled my income. It wasn't a lot, it was less than 100, but I doubled it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm doing something right. And then there was like, so there was a lot of like discouragement and, you know, not wanting to do this. I mean, I remember my first year at SLAP, I didn't even know what I was doing, but I'm so grateful for like this community that held me accountable and also like, you know, taught me how to navigate those challenges that I had. I also took advantage of the Goldman Sachs Black in Business program, which helped me tremendously to build like an action plan for my business. So some of the challenges that I see like as a Latinx business owner is, especially in the commercial real estate industry, my industry is really dominated by like large white male-led firms like CBRE, Jones Lang LaSalle, and Cushman and Wakefield. And they were, I look back at their history and they were founded by, you know, white men, and they've been around for decades. Now they're public companies. So we as women in this industry, and Latinas specifically, we're overlooked and underestimated because it's such a like male dominated industry. So some of the other challenges I feel are like access to mentorship and capital. I personally have reached out to people in corporate, like women in corporate that are in like CEO positions or leadership. And I've asked or tried to become friends or try to find some type of mentorship or community with them. And it doesn't go really well. Even when I was trying to price out my services as a small boutique property management company, I would reach out to other women who their fathers have created the company and they're somewhat of a medium size and try to just discuss basic pricing information like, hey, how do you price your properties? And it's just been some pushback as to like the information that I'm able to access to be able to provide that for my clients. So some of the, with the DEI shift as well, like the policy changes, is also the community redevelopment agencies. They're called CRAs in underserved communities. And what they basically do is come in and plan to redevelop these underserved areas, which gives also opportunity to the people in the community to open their businesses, which usually are typically minority small businesses. But so there's still some of the challenges. And when the new administration came into play, I remember I was in the Goldman Sachs program, and that day after he took, which was like October, I remember November, he took office, the energy was just so low. It was really low. And I felt victimized and I felt like I was helpless and I didn't know what to do. But then something clicked and I realized that I needed to, like, more than ever, really focus on my business and grow it the way that I wanted to grow it, because I was the one that was going to be able to provide those inclusivity, you know, the DEI, and be able to like make an impact in people's lives. By the way, I just want to say that I hired my first executive assistant from Talent Management Africa. And it's been like 2 weeks and I am like in love with her. I love it. So thank you for that. So like those are the opportunities. And if I focus on my business, how can I help others, right? So the way that I took that, so I turned that into like an opportunity, and it was basically just finding the right communities. I'm part of Crew Commercial Real Estate Women, and they are, their core value is about advancing women in commercial real estate. And when I went to their summit in January, everybody was asking like, what are you guys doing now about like these whole DEI policies? And they're like, no, like that's what we do. That is our core value. So I found how me placing myself in the right communities with the right people, which were like people like me, people that are entrepreneurs that started a business, that are trying to grow their business, was able, like it became like a powerhouse, like togetherness, right? Together we were able to battle this. So it didn't feel so heavy anymore as to like all the stuff that's going on in the world. And because I took advantage of so many programs and so many things, I personally made it a point to like join some of these boards, right? So I can have some type of impact of the decisions that they made. So yeah, it's gotten really busy because now I'm in 2 boards, and it's hectic. It's like another job, but that's the part that I'm doing because when I was broke and I didn't know where to go, they were there. Those programs were there to help me. Some of the things that I feel the community still needs, my community, it's really funding and like financial education. Because even now, I'm not making millions or anything like that, but I am making more money than I was making last year. And I feel like sometimes I don't know how to allocate my money, or I'm afraid to make a decision and then I'm going to go broke again. So those things are really important. Mentorship and business education continues to be important. You know, a lot of people start businesses out of necessity and we don't have like the tools. We don't know what direction to go or what is the first thing to do or who to talk to. The stronger networks and representation as well. So being in the right rooms with the right people, it's important. I think you see, I want to say that it's hard to get in certain rooms, but sometimes I feel like maybe those aren't the rooms for me. You know, like, okay, well, I'm gonna go this other way. And finally, so how can people support? I think being intentional about like inclusion. You know, if you're in a position of influence, to create opportunities for other small businesses, Latin businesses, advocate for funding and resources, and like create mentorship. So if I feel like for me, if I'm already in a place where I went to the next level from startup, I can also help other women, Latin women, or any small business to guide them to the right, you know, wherever they want to go, mentorship. And that's pretty much it. You know, I think following my page to support me will be great. My LinkedIn property management page. I post a lot of, well, my executive assistant now. She's doing my posting, and we're really trying to target, you know, communities and inclusivity and all that great stuff.
Jessica, thank you. You said 2 things that I think are ridiculously powerful. Everything you said was amazing. 2 things, I just want to repeat them because I thought that they were so beautifully profound. One was when you said, I realized that the solution might be that I become successful enough that I'm the one doing the DEI programs, right? Like this idea that we can reclaim our power by building our own economic agency, and then we can lead the change we want to see in the world. I just think that that's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing you said. There's a quote actually that I took a picture of yesterday that came across my screen, and it said, "What if you were the solution you've been searching for?" I just about fell off my chair. I thought it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. I was like, oh my God, what if I am the solution I've been searching for? And then the other thing you said is that it's hard to get into some of those rooms, but maybe those aren't the rooms for me. I have been thinking about that a lot. It is going to be almost impossible to change what's happening in the world right now. It's, you know, we are, it is happening, but maybe the solution isn't to fight it and change it. Maybe the solution is to create a community, a place that is safe, an economy where we still do it in alignment with our values. Because there's enough people who share these values. There's enough people even in our own community where we can be the world we want to live in together. And sometimes maybe instead of fighting for a seat at a table that, by the way, we wouldn't even want to be, do we really want to be at some of those tables? I love how you said that. I thought about that too, like, oh, they never invite me because I'm a woman. I'm like, do I really do I want to do business with these people anyways? No, but let's build our own table. Let's build our own rooms. Let's be in those rooms together. Because small businesses are powerful. All of us together, all of you together, all of us doing good business together, it's powerful. So Jessica, that is a massive gift you gave me in what you said. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Okay, so Jessica was clear with all of us. One of the ways that we can support her is to follow her LinkedIn page. So Sashni, I know you put it in chat. Can you put it there again? Everyone, it doesn't count as being distracted. Go click on it right now, and let's all just right this second give Jessica an extra 80 followers right this very minute. So let's do that right this second as an act of community, an act of togetherness. And then the other thing I want to really shout out is that, Jessica, to your point about a lack of resources for Latinx business owners, some of you guys know Suzanne is here with her Hola background screen. SLAP, we launched SLAP in Spanish last year. And it's one of the things that we don't talk about enough. And it's one of the things that I'm actually the most proud of that we did. Many team members in this room were the ones that really made it happen. I get no credit for it, but it is astounding. You know, Jerome mentioned it, Jessica's mentioned it. It is astounding when you look at the map of how resources flow, training, money, access to opportunities. When you really, really look at it, it is unbelievable how few resources flow into the hands of Black, Latinx, migrant entrepreneurs, business owners. It's like so ridiculous that you'd think obviously injustice is at play. Like it's like it couldn't just happen naturally and be that bad. It's not a natural thing. And so this is just a reminder, if any of you guys know a Spanish speaking small business owner in the US or anywhere in the world, SLAP is in Spanish. And not only that, but we've got about 100 spots left in the American Small Business Growth Program for Spanish speaking small businesses, where Wells Fargo will fully subsidize the cost of them having SLAP. So we want our Latinx friends to know that they are deeply welcome in this community, deeply deserving of equal access. And so launching SLAP in Spanish was really something that I think it's critically important. Also, as a side note, Jessica, you might be able to speak to this. Latinx small business owners contribute so much to the economy. Like it's like the injustice of the contribution to the economy, and then what we then create as opportunities and access for Latinx small businesses is like the math is just, it's appalling. And it's of course only gotten worse in these last couple of months. So, Jessica, your voice matters so much. Do you have anything else you want to say about this, Jessica? Do you want the final word on this topic?
No, I am complete.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're behind you fully. Really very much appreciate you and your story and your experiences. We're all going to follow that LinkedIn page immediately in an act of togetherness. And we're grateful that you're here. Really, really grateful.
I'm staying on, so I want to listen to everyone.
Great. Stay. Now, Chandra, I see your hand up. Let's give you a second, and then we're going to our next speaker. So Frederick, get yourself ready. We're coming to you next.
I will be real quick. I resonated with her story so much. We don't have the funding. I remember going to a venture capitalist thing probably like 6 years ago. It was in San Francisco. I can't think of the name of the guy who presented it. There were white companies there getting funding and didn't have an actual product.
Yes.
They were in, what is it called? Conception, like kind of process of it. I had a friend who was making $30,000 a month selling hair care products. They turned her down. But the person in front of her had already gotten $5 million in seed money and didn't even have a product to show for it. So I totally felt everything that you were saying.
Yeah, Chandra, amen. Agreed. It is honestly, it is appalling. I'll just say this one tiny thing for all the women in the room. I started Silver Lining almost 20 years ago, as we know. Whenever I am in a meeting with someone that is not female, a man of any size, status, race, religion, background, age, they ask the men all the questions. And I always have to say, you have to talk to me. Like, it's my company. It's clearly my, it's just like, again, and that's the experience of a white woman, right? I mean, you just layer on how much injustice there is to how money flows, valuations, what people deem as being viable, and the double standards, double, triple, quadruple standards in it. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. So yes, if it feels unfair, it is unfair. The system is unfair. That is why we're fighting to try and create a different version. So Chandra, I also just want to say there's a special place in heaven for single mothers. So let's also just maybe do a round of emojis for incredible single mothers, because there is a beautiful, beautiful place in heaven for all mothers, but especially incredible single mothers. So, and then single mothers that are building small businesses, come on. Ridiculous. I don't even understand it. It boggles my brain. I'm enamored, inspired, impressed every day. It's really, really amazing. All right. With that being said, we go to the infamous Frederick Shang, one of our longest running slapsters, the man who spent many years trying to convince me he was not a small business owner when he is undeniably a small business owner, and who is just a phenomenal human being, good to the core, impressive in many ways, has built a fabulous business. And, you know, we live in a world where it's becoming increasingly unsafe to be part of the LGBTQI plus community. Certainly anyone who is transgender is at massive physical peril right now. And we are a community that will continually and overtly and loudly stand for everyone in the LGBTQI plus community. And Frederick's here to share his experience. What is it like to be part of the LGBTQI community, and what can we do as a community to make sure we're showing up for our fellow community members? So Frederick, I give the floor to you.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And before I start, I want to say something fabulous happened recently. Some people from South America asked me to do some work with them in my field and put some money in my pocket, which is a lovely thing. And I realize now, you know what? There are a lot of people in South America who are doing what I do, and of course they speak Spanish, and they can all get slaps. That's really good. And I've been able to do that here in the United States before, but that's a great thing to do. So welcome everybody. Thank you for your time and listening to what I have to say. I will start with about 5 years ago when the pandemic hit. Actually, it is 5 years now. The pandemic hit, and as Carissa knows, and maybe some of you have heard this before, I realized that where I was teaching, what I do is I teach movement classes, where I was teaching, all the physical locations closed, everything closed. And as I've said before, just because the world stopped doesn't mean that I need to stop. The world stopped, but I didn't. There were still clients out there to reach. There were still classes that I had inside of me to teach. And I morphed my business, transitioned to being online, which was wonderful. Because it was online, I could go global. Instead of having to be in a room in a physical location, I could be on Zoom and teach people literally all over the world. One of the aspects of my work is something called the Feldenkrais Festival, which used to be in a physical location. It's the LGBTQ IA plus everybody else Feldenkrais Festival, and I explain what that means. And it used to be in one location that everybody could come and be there. But now with Zoom and being all over the world, no restriction, I could have that be literally all over the world. Instead of thinking people would have to show up, let's say on a particular day, I could have it over the course of several days. I could have teachers all over the world who would want to participate. I could even hire coordinators to handle people in different time zones. So, of course, people in Asia or people in Europe and Africa would be taking classes at different times that made sense for them when they're awake. And so it's blossomed to be the LG for the Feldenkrais method. That's the method I teach. Feldenkrais method is now, it's the global. And thank you, Ted, for for pushing me to call it global. It's now global. I'm filling those shoes. The global LGBTQIA plus everybody else, meaning everybody's invited. It doesn't matter what your romantic preference is, your gender identity, as long as you're not homophobic or transphobic, the door is open for you. That's true for both participants who want to take the lessons and also teachers. So everybody, I've got the greatest teachers coming in. Everybody decided they want to be part of the process. However, as we've been talking about this morning, there's been a political shift, a social shift, and that's affecting a lot of things, including the economy and the amount of money that's allocated, the amount of resources that are allocated to the entities through which I have a partnership. That's gone way down. And the places that I'm able to present my work for the LGBT community, they don't know if they're going to be open, particularly when it comes to places that support the trans community. And for those of you who don't know, the incidence of murder of trans people, particularly trans women, is off the charts. Particularly trans women of color literally are murdered and the police don't care. It's just like, you're not a citizen, you're not a human being, so what difference does it make? That's basically the attitude. And what I'm doing for myself as I push myself forward is creating sort of like what others were saying, creating a table of my own where I say, okay, I am going to embody the idea that everybody's a human being, everybody's entitled to respect because they are a human being. It doesn't matter, who you love, doesn't matter how you identify, everybody's invited. And there has been a wonderful response to that, that people come in and see that. Obviously, there are a lot of people who don't. But I think that if we can continue to grow that sense of how humanity is put together, which is what I'm so much seeing here, if we can continue to grow that, that's wonderfully positive. In terms of a call to action, I'm doing some activities that all of you might be interested in, and that I am partnering with Jazz at Lincoln Center to create game shows, game shows basically, where I partner with somebody who's a Tony Award winner or an Oscar winner or a Grammy winner, and we do something around music. And so you get to learn about music, and I teach, silly stories. I talk about silly stories and play some of the music, and that's now grown, and it's a way of having everyone be connected with excellence and fun under the banner of an LGBT center. And I think that, so just like nobody now thinks that you have to be Chinese to go to Chinatown, or that you have to be Black to go listen to watch Alvin Ailey. People can go into an LGBT center either online or in person and experience excellence. And the only restriction on that is that you're not transphobic or homophobic. And so that's something I'm pushing forward. And as a call to action, I'd love to have people sign up, come to my website, see what I'm doing. And if you'd like to participate, I promise I won't send you two or three emails a day. In fact, I'm behind on that. That would be a great thing. So that's where I am, and I'd love to hear what people have to say about my proposal.
I love it. Frederick, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, I love that you're fighting for this idea of LGBTQAI plus everyone else, as long as you are not homophobic or transphobic. That's an important clarifier. But I just love the plus at the end. I love how you've added everyone else. I think that that's beautifully, I love the audacity of, as you're being increasingly discriminated against, under pressure, right? As the social winds are moving against you, your choice, your response is to be radically inclusive. I mean, I just think there's so much that we can all learn from that, right? We can choose to shut down, isolate, move into our own individual circles, further stagger and separate, or we can be audaciously inclusive as our act of resistance with the boundary, right, that people who are going to bring in any of their homophobia or transphobia or racism or sexism are not welcome. But we're building a pretty cool table, you know, that people are welcome in. I think that there's just something really, that's my takeaway from what you said, Frederick, is the audacity of responding to segregation and elimination and pushing out and marginalization with this radical inclusivity and a clear boundary. I really, really love that.
Thank you. And the response on the part of the major teachers around the world and the coordinators that I've gotten has been, let's go for it. Let's make it happen. And it self-selects those people who want to be transphobic or homophobic, see the first few letters and they're like, I'm not I'm not involved with that. I'm not doing that, so.
I love it. I love it. All right, everyone. So Frederick, we're going to post information about your events so that people can attend.
Yes.
What else can we do to support you? What's the number one way we can be in it with you?
Be vocal. Those people who are on the side of subjugating people and pushing that, they feel incredibly empowered right now.
Yes.
Donald Trump recently said that he wants to, he's very anti-immigration, unless, of course, you're a white South African, in which he'll fast track into the USA.
That's right.
Yeah, that's astounding to me.
Yes.
He's a law and order president, and as such, the fellow who on camera murdered George Floyd, he's like, oh, he should be pardoned. Or the people who went to the White House, went to the Capitol building and killed police officers. They have now actually been pardoned. Those people who are on the side of doing that are feel very empowered, very strong to say what they feel in a public place. I think we need to also be radical about saying, okay, no, I do not believe that you are in favor of law and order if you're advocating the killing of police officers. Or I don't believe you're in favor of law and order if you are saying that people who are trans and of color can be murdered because you just don't like them. That's not law and order. That's madness. And to say so. Mm-hmm.
Amen. I say to all, especially of my white friends who, again, have much safer bodies to live in, when they make these statements, myself included, silence makes us complicit. This is not the time to not say something. Silence is an act. It's a complicity in what's happening, and standing up for each other, being vocal in support of each other. Agreed. Amen. 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 A woman, a them, as Eduardo Placer would say. Yeah, show us your t-shirt, Frederick.
Yeah, here's my t-shirt. Uh-oh. Can you put me on there? We refuse to be invisible. Dun,
yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Thank you. Mm.
Beautiful. Thank you, Frederick. Thank you.
Carissa. Oh, one more thing. I'll see you guys in New York.
Yes, you will.
Putting together my bus program, so we're gonna have a grand old time.
Just so you guys all know, as a side note, I know we're talking about very serious issues. We just need to do a small commercial break for a huge dose of fun. On Saturday, April 26th, for any of you that will be in New York City for Silver Linings 20th anniversary, we have a bus that a whole lot of us are going to get on, about 80 of us. We are going to be doing, instead of hopping on and hopping off at like the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty, we are re-seeing New York City as a small business city, which it is. New York City is a small business city. We are going to every single borough, and in each borough, we are hopping off and going and hanging out in a small business, i.e. in Brooklyn, we're hopping off. We're going to Lacey's dance studio. We're doing a dance class. Then we're hopping back on. We're going to Queens. I'm not telling you all the secrets. It's a little fun secret, but we are literally working our way through all 5 boroughs, hopping off to enjoy a small business and hopping back on to get to the next. And on the rides between the boroughs, we have slapsters who are going to be leading song, movement, dance, fun, including our dear Frederick. So if you come to New York and you get on that bus, you're going to get a lovely Feldenkrais class with Frederick. It's going to be the most fun day that I think is humanly possible ever, actually. So just thank you for my PSA, a little break in our serious conversation for a dose of what will be the most fun day, maybe in all of our lives. Get ready. Get ready. All right. On that note, we go to Africa. Our next wonderful, wonderful, incredible slapster who is going to share is calling in from really, truly one of the most incredible places on the entire planet. For anyone that has not been to Africa, it is time to go. I'm telling you, it is all happening in Africa. I believe that Africa will save all the rest of us. I really do. We just, you guys remember this, I'm on this Silver Lining World Tour. And in fact, tonight I did the Melbourne Slap Workshop at Talent Match, where the partner we have that Jessica got her EA from. But we started the Silver Lining World Tour in Africa on purpose. That was a statement. That was not a mistake. We started in Nairobi. I just believe so much in Africa. I believe so much in all things Africa and African small businesses. So we have Ina Teze, whose name I am sure I said wrong, who is the CEO of Farm Business, an incredible business. I really, by the way, as a side note, when we think about global economic development, farming is going to be and is going to increasingly be a critical part of how we build a better world. And so I hand it over to this incredible human to share their experience.
Okay. Hello. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, beautifully.
Okay. It's afternoon here. So while you guys are saying good morning, for me, it's almost evening. And the weather, it's very hot. The weather is about close to 40 degrees. So, and I'm at the farmhouse. So you're going to be hearing some sounds at the back, but that's cool. That's okay if you bear it with me. Where do I begin from? Okay, should I ask, what would you like to know about us in Africa as it is?
Sashi, do you want to do the same thing? Do you want to jump in?
Yes.
I leave it to you.
Let me start by saying, is your name pronounced Inyotse?
Okay, so I've dealt with this name thing for a very long time. So it's funny because okay, so Nigeria is like, we have over 250 languages, over 250 culture. Okay, 2 major religion, but 1,001 religion. So my father refused just to give me, say, an English name. And when I ask him, he will tell me, what do you need an English name for? So the name is Enotse.
Enotse.
You see, but there are people in Nigeria that can't even pronounce it. I don't know why. So most of the time, I answer Ene. The name just simply means mother of the king. That's like, I'm supposed to be the queen mother. No, but most people around Nigeria, because they find it very difficult to pronounce my name, they just say Ene. So Ene just means mother. So I just go by any pronunciation. I really don't, whatever
and
you
couldn't you have told us this before I tried to say your name? That would have been a kindness you could have given me.
Yeah, so if you call me Ene, that's fine. If you call me Enote, that's fine. Whatever, I just accept any pronunciation. I'm fine by it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So when we reached out to you, it's because you are a high performing slapster. Your commitment to your business was visible. Like, we saw it and we wanted to celebrate it, but we also wanted to understand what are some challenges that you face as a small business owner in your part of the world. I think this is an exhibit A of some of the challenges faced by small business owner in any side of the world.
Carissa, you're muted.
I was saying it's an experiential learning opportunity for all of us.
2001.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I
Yes.
can hear you.
You're back. You're good.
Yeah. So first of all, being a female is a huge challenge. Trying to navigate, trying to get by. And then secondly, in Nigeria, it is interesting because there are more women entrepreneurs, more women small businesses than the men in Nigeria. But then we face a lot.
Oh no, NA in
Oh,
the
it seems we
farmhouse.
lost. Yeah, unfortunately, it seems that we've lost any. But jokes aside, that truly is one of the
Yeah.
challenges
A
that
lot of
No,
issues.
it's a-
First of
yeah.
all, we face gender also 10 times. You have to prove yourself 10 times than the male counterpart, because everybody looks at you like, okay, you know, culture is also a determining factor. So even within my organization, some men get angry that I try to correct them. They get very, very angry. I'm like, what? You're just a woman. You know, I've heard that several times. And we also have religion playing a role in our businesses, because sometimes you go and then they look at you as kind of, what's your religion? Oh, okay, I'm a Christian. And then maybe if you have to deal with the Muslim man, he becomes skeptical about you. So we go through 1,001 issues. I don't even want to go into the issue of sexual harassment. That happens every day, you know, depends on what form it comes. Sometimes it's very subtle, sometimes very direct, and then sometimes, you know, it just comes in different forms. So, you know, for you to hold your dignity, and then of course you have to be a very resilient person. But however, success is celebrated. When you become successful, everybody seems to hold you and, oh, that's the power girl, that's one powerful woman and all that. Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
we're
that's
hearing you.
okay, that's how it rolls here. So we have gender specific barrier, which I've named culture. I hate to say it, but sometimes when you're succeeding, you're making a lot of money, husbands or the men in our lives tend to become very envious. That happens. But we all just look at it and you know, you just know that you're a woman and it's time for women, so we just forge along. That's that's part of it. And then of course, government policies in favoring women, it looks favorably, but when it comes to practice, making it practical, it's never done for us, especially for those of us who are in agribusiness. So we just manage to get along. You know, that's how it works for us in Africa, or like I'll say Nigeria.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And, you know, that's just the story of resilience, right? We certainly appreciate that in our community.
Yeah.
Do you feel though, is there anything you feel positive about in terms of your business? Is there anything to look forward to? And
okay, for me, yes. It's for me. I don't even allow this barrier, you know, stop me from whatever I want to do. If I have to fly an aircraft today, I'll do it. And that is the part that I enjoy most. And the fact that I wake up in the morning and I'm proving a point, and I wake up in the morning and I'm being an inspiration to other women, you know, that gives me a lot of fulfillment. And I'm a very creative person, and some of the things that gives me that satisfaction, the fact that I've been able to start a company which is a social enterprise. I got it off the ground with all kinds of challenges during the COVID. I was still working during the COVID, and you know, the fact that I'm successful, the fact that I'm a reference point gives me that, you know, that fulfillment.
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ene. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And you certainly are an inspiration to us in this room. And I dare to say myself, as a Black woman, I see in you the resilience by necessity that we've had to develop as Black women in our various situations. So I appreciate that. And thank you so much for being with us, Carissa.
Yes. And NA, what can we do to support you most? How do we support you, your business, your fellow Nigerian business owners, Africa? How can we as a community get behind you and all that you stand for?
Well, I think you're already doing enough. When I was doing a video the other day for SLAP, I said SLAP for me is like having that professor that you just don't want to disappoint. So sometimes I know that because I'm starting a new farm. I'm right now in a rural area. I don't even have electricity, but I keep thinking about, oh, I haven't gone back to do my this thing. And thanks to Bilal, he's always on my case. So I think SLAP is doing enough. I think it's on my part now to get more people to come to join the community, which I've not been able to do. You know, I tried to get somebody on the platform. I had to like always she wants me to follow up all the time, and I haven't had the time. But I think SLAP for now is doing enough, keeps me on my toes. As a matter of fact, I'm a founder and a CEO. So SLAP is the only one that makes me keep to a plan. That makes me like, for instance, sometimes the campaigns, you know, I don't want to tell a lie, so I have to do it and say, okay, I have done it, you know, because Bilal will ask you nicely, but you know he means business. So I always like try to do my campaigns, try to add my campaigns, and that has really helped, you know, because okay, so this campaign, how do I put it? I had to Africanize them. Because some of the things, like for instance, in Africa, well, except for Southern Africa, maybe Kenya, we're not an email country. We're not email people. So I had to find somehow to work it out. Okay, I can't send emails. Nobody will read my email except it's a serious email. So I try to do some other things, you know. So it has really helped me so I think the community for me is supportive enough. It's on my part to get more people to come to the platform so that, you know, we can just take it from there. And I'm really grateful. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you guys.
No, God bless you. I love you so much. We are so happy you're a part of our community. And yes, we want more. Happy, yes. We want more of your friends. They are all welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Especially Bilal.
I know, and I'm loving this little shout out for Bilal. And it's true. He comes across, I don't know if he's here right now. He comes across as so soft and kind. You don't mess with Bilal. No. Bilal is going to keep you on track.
Yes, there's a way he does it, and I'm like, oh, okay, Bilal is going to call on Tuesday. So I've had my meetings with him in very unusual places, in the market, when I'm in the traffic. It just has to happen. And like, you know, there's this flexibility he gives me, but still, I just know he's not joking. So, and I don't want to waste his time. You understand? I
love it, NA. We are not joking. You know, I hope you guys, I mean, I think all of you guys know that. Silver lining, we're not messing around. This is serious business. The world is falling apart. And the way that we resist is by every single one of you succeeding. The way that we resist the sexism, the homophobia, the transphobia, all the racial injustice, all of the things that are wrong. So I always say, I love this community and we're a lot of fun, but we're actually up to very serious business together. And I love that you bring that up, right? Like all of your success, all of our collective success matters. And we want to fight for every single one of you. We will fight for every single one of you forever because this matters.
Yeah. All right.
I love it.
Thank you.
And I love it. So happy you're here. We haven't announced this yet. I'm going to give you guys a little teaser. At the 20-year anniversary, we're announcing that for the next 3 years, we're going to do 2 in-person gatherings a year, and we're going to rotate between the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere to make it easy for people to gather. And the first one, it's going to be the Small Business Economic Summit. It will be in Kenya, in Nairobi, in November. So we're coming back to Africa, our whole community, to try to gather and be together. So NA, I will see you there. Africa is one of our fastest growing parts of the world in silver lining. The community is growing in Africa really quickly, and it brings me great joy and happiness. Okay, now our grand finale is something that I'm really excited about. I'm gonna ask if you can, this is being recorded, and so if you have to leave right at 30 minutes, we totally respect that. If you can stay till about 35 minutes after, this will take we wanna give it a full 15 minutes, and so I'll stay as long as all of you guys can stay with us. Lizzie Whitworth is our next and final incredible small business owner. There she is. She's a wonderful human who also earned a spot. We ran, if you guys all remember, a 1-year challenge for US-based small businesses who are part of the American Small Business Growth Program. And 5 incredible people won the challenge. I will note, all women. So no offense to all you men in the room, but come on, boys, come on. You got to pick it up. The women are winning. All 5 women were the winners. A couple more in the room today. Tammy, Sieta, I see you guys. But Lizzie is deaf. She'll share that experience of living with a physical disability. And to so much credit to Sashini, who did so much work to try to create the conditions for us to make sure that the experience when we were on this physical retreat together was really inclusive. We didn't get it all right. Not Sashini's fault, my fault. Meaning Sashini gets the credit, I take the responsibility. We didn't get it all right. And Lizzie, I think, is such an incredible human, because instead of just feeling somehow not included or resentful or holding it against us, she chose to educate us. She chose to explain to us what about the experience was hard for her and what about the experience she didn't feel included in. And so I have great admiration and respect for you, Lizzie. I deeply admire the fact that you chose to be in relationship over this and to help us be better. It really, I think it says a lot about you. And so we put together credit to Sashini and Avery from the Silver Lining team and Lisi, who wrote this gorgeous report, which we're going to share out with their community. I'm also going to release it on LinkedIn. We're going to be as loud and proud as we can possibly be about this report. But the idea of it is really about trying to bring awareness about the lived experience of people who live with physical disabilities. And how we don't just like talk about it and say, oh, yeah, well, that's nice, but actually move into action as a community. And so I'm just going to share, a little bit, just one more second, and then I'm going to hand the floor to Lizzie, who really is the one that we need to be listening with. But this is a picture of all of us together in Santa Fe, the winners of the Big Slap Challenge. And I'm just going to reiterate this quote that I wrote for the report, because it's what I really feel, which is, thanks to Lizzie's pledge to educate and equip people to be truly inclusive, we are really proud. I mean that very genuinely, really, really proud to be co-authoring this report with Lizzie. And really making sure that we share it out with every single person in our global community, because if all of us can learn together, and if all of us can make, small but really significant shifts in our actions, then we really can together continue on this mission of creating a community, but more importantly, a world that's truly inclusive and accessible for all. So it really matters. It's really important. Out of our conversations with Lizzie, out of building this report, look at all those beautiful photos. We had such a good time. All of you MEA Slapsters, I love you. We had such a great time. We were together for 3 days, everyone. There is where I'm teaching everyone slap in my pajamas. And then the rest of the time I was out of my pajamas. But Silver Lining is making a series of commitments. One is to obviously create this report, release it with our own name on it, trying to leverage whatever, voice we have to get this, information out into the world. 2 is that we're committed to going through all of our websites, Slap Center, our product, all of our branding, and making sure that all of the technology, the digital tools, the things that we do are accessible for everyone. We're going to be looking at how we continue to use more closed captioning, and even looking at trying to bring in interpreters for when we're doing training and events. There will be an interpreter at the New York City event, which I'm very excited about, and Lizzie will be there too. And really just trying to be as sort of transparent as possible about our own journey of trying to do this right, and the ways that we will get it right, and the ways that we'll make mistakes, and the ways that we'll fumble, and to try to do that so that we can lead by example and say, we may not all get this perfectly right away, but we need to try, and we need to do it together. So with that, I'm going to hand the floor to Lizzie, who really is the star of our show and really the expert in these things, who can share her experience and sort of give us a bit of a training and an understanding of what each of us can do to be more inclusive.
Thank you for such a great intro, Carissa, and for sharing the story. I wanted to circle back to I made a few notes from the dialogue, really wonderful dialogue leading up to now. And I want to say that I'm not only deaf, but I'm also, because I'm a cancer survivor, I have chronic illness and soy allergy, skin sensitivity, and recently I've started to identify neurodivergent. And this world is just not built for people with disability. So it's, and I've been studying this for a very long time. And I've identified where real inaccessibility begins. Is at the research and development stage. Is when you're doing your event agenda. You're planning out the agenda. You have to consider, the impact and accessibility. When you're developing a product, you need to make sure it's accessible, inclusive when you develop it, not as an afterthought, not as remediation. Take, for example, this PDF, we created it. Now, before we distribute it, we have to do a little bit of post-production work, where we have to take the PDF and then do what's called remediation to fix a few things that are not accessible to blind people. So the screen readers are reading it. You have to format it just so that it'll be an equal experience. A lot of times, accessibility, there's a workaround, there's an add-on, and it actually still creates more work. So it's still not equal. There's still more work for the person with a disability. So anyway, my notes I wanted to say is that I do not represent the full spectrum of disability. There's so many different, there's hearing, there's sight, there's touch, there's mobility, there's being able to walk. There's all these different abilities. When you build a product, you create software, you have to consider all those abilities. If it's missing, are they able to access this information, this content, this experience? So I want to say that I really, really love the theme of togetherness. I was taking a course. I got certified in equitable community change, and in that course, they taught us that people in power, they want to keep their power, they want to keep the money, keep all the money and dole out as little as possible to everybody else. And one of the power tactics, number one power tactic, is to divide the common people, get them infighting. Don't get them infighting so that they keep them busy and they can keep doing what they're doing, stay in power. So the togetherness is how we defeat that tactic. So I'm going to go to the next page. I'm going to talk about the report here. So here on this page, I've got a retrospective. They did ask me to write, to share all the different, what was done right, what was done wrong at the retreat. It was a wonderful, beautiful retreat. So much, the experiences I had was just great. Except sometimes there was moments of frustration. There was, when we were doing the group sessions and there was one point, there was an interpreter, and then on video relay interpreting. And it was great, but then it wasn't there for the whole time. And it's just too long of a story. I couldn't fit it into the 1 or 2 pager. I couldn't. So I'm going to write a more full, I'm working on it now. I'm going to publish it. And then if you want to learn about the specifics, then the specifics are going to be in that retrospective. Here, I write more about just the experience of showing up and being anxious leading up to the event. I was like really anxious. And I'm going to share this with you here. Actually, the day before the retreat started, I burst down into tears. I was just crying because leading up to retreat, I was just so nervous and anxious. And then I was like, oh, do we have the accommodations lined up? And it still wasn't quite clear. And then I'm gonna go back a little bit. A few years ago, I went through complete burnout, like complete meltdown, burnout, because I worked so much, so hard, for so long, because I was trying to live up to the label. I was trying to be the CEO, this fully able-bodied CEO standard. But no, I didn't realize I have to do it my own way. I have to do it differently because I'm deaf. I'm a woman. I am disabled. I think differently than most people. So I'm doing things differently now. And during the burnout, I learned that I don't listen to my feelings. I bottle them up. I don't just bottle, and that led to the burnout. So I learned to listen to my feelings. So the day before the retreat, the feelings came up, and I let it, and I was just crying. And it was really important that I did that, and I think slept. It's actually, sometimes no pain, no gain. So I went through the pain. It was necessary because I did not stand up for myself. I did not say, you must provide me as an interpreter, because, can we go to the next page? I have some notes here with this narrative. So we have these moments, beautiful moments. And the biggest, so what I do know, this the whole time leading up to the retreat, I'm a small business owner and I'm a disabled person. So I had two different parts of me that were conflicting with each other, because mine, I knew it was remote. It's in New Mexico. It's going to cost $10,000 easily to have in-person interpreter the whole time. But technical solution work, because nowadays we have more and more technology solution, but it's remote. Do we have Wi-Fi? Do we have good technology? So there's so many questions, and I didn't know. But I didn't want to demand it because I empathize with small business ownership, where $10,000 can kill the budget easily. So I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't say, give me an interpreter. So leading up to the day before, I was just really upset. So and then on the last day, everybody was sharing their experiences. Everybody was 100% positive. Mine was like maybe 70% positive, I would say, because it's just wonderful, so wonderful. Maybe 80% positive, but that 20% was it was that crying, all the feeling lonely, feeling isolated. I sat there and I thought, do I do toxic positivity? Do I go, I had a great time? Or do I say, you know what? Nope. I decided to tell the truth. And afterwards, we went ahead and did some, and then Carissa just amazingly just looked at me and just like, we got to do this. We're going to go after this report together. We got to spread awareness. And this is how this happened. So it was beautiful. Thank you, Carissa, for that moment. And it was interesting to note that when I shared, the whole group immediately just felt responsible. They felt like they had to apologize to me. And I was like, no, nobody here has to apologize. It's just, it happened. It's a system. It's a systemic design. And afterwards, so we agreed to do this report. It talked to the participant, the old small business owner. So kicked off our research into what are unmet inclusion needs for small business owners. And the interesting takeaway that we had was, we don't know what we don't know. Nobody knew. Nobody knows about this stuff. Even I do, because remember I was saying, I'm not sure if it's remote, will technology work? I didn't know either. So next page on here. So I wrote about, actually, sorry, no, stay there. So I have notes here. I'm not very polished public presenter, bear with me. So anyway, my commitment, so Carissa, she set her commitments. My commitment with Eventida is to facilitate session, and I'm going to provide it at discount to any Slack member, because I want to see all Slackers be accessible to the customers. And I'm going to gather data on unmet small business inclusion needs. So we want to collectively understand what systemic change is needed. And that's a long-term project. We're going to take our time to be kind of, as we're doing the session, facilitating how you need to become accessible. How are you going to do it? Because the thing is, it's not like a single checklist. But I'm going to go to the next page soon, where there's a checklist a little bit, but I'm going to explain more why. I cannot just give you one checklist. Anyway, so commitment number 1, facilitate session to solve current issue. I'm available to help you with that. And then gather data on unmet small business inclusion needs. And then the third commitment is to publish the actionable insights for real change, starting with this report. And we're going to be publishing more insight. And we invite you to share with us what you've done, how you've done it, so we can publish and share the how, and then inspire others to follow and do what you do to succeed with being accessible and inclusive. So next page, please. And here, so we have a vision for change, the path forward, the belief system. You know, on the first page, talked about we believe in small business with justice. Here, I want to share that, to add to that belief system, is that small businesses, there's 2 different inequities happening here on both sides. Because in the United States, ADA law requires that it puts a burden on the business owner, on the service provider. They have to be accessible, inclusive. They have to pay the extra, they have to pay for interpreter. They have to do all this. But small businesses are just, dying out. We all know, right? If I'm hosting a workshop for, let's say, my budget is $500. I'm just a startup. I'm just trying to get people in the door. And then a deaf person comes along and says, I need an interpreter. And it's like, if it's an all-day workshop, like 8 hours, $1,000 easy. Your budget $500, and then $1,000. So you have a choice. You're going to turn away the person and risk getting sued, or to push you in a position that's really not equitable as a small business owner. The system design. And then on the other hand, disabled individuals are left to navigate. Because a lot of times, the small business owner or even the hospital, university, all these different institutions, they say, hey, can you provide the interpreter? And then a lot of them are going to just hire the cheapest one and not qualified. And then they show up and they barely they fumble the signing, and it's not after. It's still inadequate. So we have inequity on both sides. So we want to document and research and start advocating for policy change. We want to change the system. How does accessibility work? Because that's what I'm doing here with Eventita. And just so you guys if you guys are thinking about why should I care? This is small disability. I want to talk about that for a moment. The mental model of a lot of people, when they think disability, they think not functional. They think they need spoon feeding. They need to be drugged. They think they can't hold down jobs. There's like a lot of times there's a mental model that comes when somebody says disability, and what do people think? The reality is 1 out of 4 people, pretty much worldwide, pretty consistent. 1 out of 4 people have a disability. So it's actually very common. It's the biggest minority, basically. So if you're a B2B business owner, there are in the United States alone, there are 1.8 million disabled business owners. And generally speaking, when you're disabled, small business entrepreneurship is the best route towards employment, because 85% of people with disability are not employed. And then in the consumer spending, the disability market and the families and supporters together, $13 trillion of disposable income. This is a huge market. It is worth exploring as a valid customer base, especially in today's time and age, where answering the question about what my community worried about now, and specifically for me, deaf community, and then there's other disability communities like blind, people in wheelchairs, different groups. They tend to congregate in our different communities, sectors. I guess you can call them segments. What was I saying that about the community? The train going.
No,
Sometimes
how big
public speaking, my brain starts going too fast.
No, you're doing great. How big the market is. This is actually a business opportunity. This isn't like charity or aid. This is a real business opportunity.
Yes. And I was saying that what we're worried about now is that there's a lot of government funded program and social program that provide access, funding for interpreter. Maybe even the ADA is going to get canceled maybe by the current administration. So we're all really worried about having all these programs cut, all these access to support programs. So there's possibly some market there but it's also just worrisome in general. But so next page. Oh, actually, I do want to say that. Sorry, one more thing. Silver Lining made a commitment. Eventida made a commitment. And then here you see on this page your action. We want to encourage you to join us in this mission. And if you want to learn more, I'm going to drop a link in chat in a moment. But now if we can go to the next page. Great, thank you. Here, we categorize the most common categories. So this is just to demonstrate really quick how, if not, I can't just give you a single checklist. That's why I said some action to take. There's categories. First, you have to understand. To understand what's needed, what's the setting, because a lot of times the combination is it's kind of like operating system, your computer or your phone. You can't, if you have an Android phone, you can't install a Apple only app. So, and then this is more of like the setting, and then what kind of accommodation are suitable for that setting. So it's really complex. And so first you have to understand what's needed, what's the setting, and then content creation. When you're creating content, like earlier talking about remediation, we have to post-production, we finish with this report, and then we have to go into a PDF editor to make sure it's accessible. And then there's representation. We want to make sure that decision-making, whoever's at the table, we were talking earlier about the table. What table do we want to be at? We want to make sure we are sitting at table where there's diversity. At least, if we have 8 people at the table, there should be at least 2 people with disability. If not, then it's not representative. It's not equal, and so on. So the next page. Here, I list a few resources that would be good for you to get started with. And in one out there is a IAP, it's an association of accessibility professionals, where they're certified. So, because a lot of times there are because nowadays there's a lot of enthusiasm around inclusion and accessibility, and there's a lot of groups saying we can help you be accessible, but then it's more about maybe deaf community. They'll make sure that you're doing your stuff in ASL, American Sign Language, but then they are not accessible to blind people, or mobility. The website is not coded right for mobility disabled. So you can't really trust that. It's hard to trust. Who is the expert? Who knows what they're talking about? So IAP has certified professionals, so you can know these are people that actually know what they're doing, but it's suitable for remediation. And of course, I don't really like to talk about myself or my business that much, but also I had to talk about Eventida for a moment, where we facilitate team meeting and design for inclusivity. So the idea here is that because we're doing the research long term, we're gathering information, we're gathering data, But what are we going to do in the meantime? How are we gathering that information? It's by being hands-on with working with organizations, businesses to become inclusive. And instead of being the ones, because a lot of times what I get in my experience, I used to provide it as a service, but now I provide more facilitation. The reason being, my experience is usually I go in, I'm hired to help them become more accessible, inclusive, to update the website, to host the event, to design an experience, basically. 99% of the time, they expect us to do all the work. Like, we make them accessible and inclusive. And that's not how it works. You guys have to do the work. We are only here to guide you. We're here to help you become accessible and inclusive. So that's why I've shifted even Tita into research and development, and we're doing facilitation. So we facilitate the information. We facilitate your alignment workshop where your team is say, hey, what problem do you have? Do you know how you're being inclusive or not? How are you going to solve it? How might we make your website more accessible, so on and so forth. So that's what we do at Eventida. And in the meantime, throughout, we're kind of studying, we're watching, we're documenting what are the most common patterns, what is the most unmet needs. And then, and then I want to encourage you guys. This is how I got started. I got so passionate about accessible technology back in, I want to say 2012. Over 10 years ago, I joined Nobility. It's the third item on the checklist here. Game layered accessible tech training. They have a program called AIR, Accessible Internet Rally, AIR, AIR. And they've been doing it. They used to be local in Austin. Now they do it online, and the impact is worldwide. What they do is the competition. They match a web development team with a nonprofit organization. The nonprofit organization pays like a small fee, like $100, and the web development team pays $100, and then that funds the whole program. And then what they do is they provide the web development team and the content creators with training. What's the accessibility? And it was at that training that just blew my mind. I thought, deaf people have a hard. No, we're actually one of with the internet because we're visual people. The websites are visual most of the time, except when there's video, people talking, and there used to be no automatic captioning, but now we have that. So it blew my mind how inaccessible the web experience is to most of the other disability. So I've become very passionate about it since then, thanks to Nobility. And it's fun. It's a fun way because we did a competition. So when we finished the training, and then we had one day, but it's different now because it's online. They have like 1 month to do the build. So we have 1 day to do the build, to build an accessible website. And we learned so much, and it's just a fun way to do it. So I encourage you to have your creative team sign up, and then you can do it as a goodwill thing, to support nonprofit, to help them be accessible, and have your team learn, or your web development firm, if you're contracting out, encourage them to sign up. So, and then talent pipeline, if disability belong, they're really connected. They're doing great work with in Hollywood. They're working with major Nickelodeon. They're working with I can't remember his offhand right now, but they're working with a lot of really major corporations and doing like a cohort style of upskilling and training people with disability to be able to go out and get jobs in that field. And they're focusing on entertainment because representation. The more we see people with disabilities in media, in the movies, in entertainment, the more people will go, oh, it will normalize disability. So they're doing really great work. And I think that would be great for you to tap into if you are looking for talent, if you're looking to partner with them to upskill people in a specific field, they will be a great organization for that. And then finally, Disability In is good for CEOs like yourself, business owners like yourself to join and network with other like-minded CEOs and inclusive organizations. So those are just a starter. And I think that is all, the last page. And then now Clarissa can recap the commitments.
Amazing. Thank you, Lizzie. I think you are a courageous, incredibly strong beautifully determined advocate for these issues. And I love when I read it in the report, when you wrote it, and then when you said it, I love when you said you could have chosen toxic positivity, not for yourself to protect me and everyone else, but instead you chose to speak what was true. And the result of that truth, that courageous moment on your behalf, is that I'm better for it. I learned so much that I just genuinely didn't know, and our community will learn so much. So I respect you deeply for choosing that moment to speak truth and to give us the opportunity for all that's coming from it. I really admire it. I really respect it. I'm grateful for it. And for all of us, these are, the things we can do together. We are going to release this report so you guys will have access to it. We're going to encourage everyone in the SLAP community to think about how to take action on the recommendations that Lizzie just gave you. Sashini, let's make sure we create a campaign in SLAP Center that teaches SLAPsters how to become more inclusive, that the people can add to their SLAP if you all want to. So we'll have the video that Lizzie just did, the training, and we'll turn it into action items. We'll put it in SLAP Center. Anyone that wants to, you could add it right into your SLAP, and that will live for all SLAPsters globally. And we're committed to working. Lizzie and I have a co-plan. We're going to put together a cohort of 50 small businesses from around the world who live with a disability. We're going to have them all use SLAP, which is really exciting. But most importantly, we're going to listen to the experiences that they have. Where does SLAP somehow leave them feeling excluded? Where does the software, is it hard for them to read or hear? How we're gonna be listening intently to their experiences of using SLAP, and then using it as a way for us to continually get better as a group, as a community, as a product, as a company. So Silver Lining is totally committed to being in this for real, not just releasing a report, but trying to keep learning. And I, again, continue to thank you, Lizzie, for your courage, your talent, your determination, your voice. We are all really better for it. I am definitely better for it. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Likewise, thank you, thank you. And now, can I say one more thing about
Yes.
the whole togetherness? I feel
Yes.
like trust is just it's hard. It's a hard thing for all of us to learn to trust, because like in the deaf communities, like we experience, I want to tell a really short story, but way back, another long old story from the web development days, when there was a little bit of a fallout doing a project, the collaboration failed. You can get crazy doing website and content and all that. So then there was like a makeup meeting, and we met with the client to kind of smooth ruffle feathers and stuff. And we were sitting there, and she said, I was talking with another deaf leader, an organizational leader, and we were saying, we're not going to hire deaf web developers. Deaf web developers are the worst. We're better off hiring hearing web developers. And then I just busted out laughing, because literally just like 1 or 2 days prior, I had been talking with another web developer in another state, and we were saying, you know what, deaf clients are the worst. So it's just like this inner the community. We often sometimes don't trust each other, and we buy into those mental models I was talking about. And I just feel like, and I want to confess that I did feel a little, I'm not sure if I could trust Silver Lining, because we were going to do the report and then decided to do it in January. And then I was like, are you guys really committed? And then I was feeling I recognized that I didn't trust. Then when it showed up, we had that meeting, and of course I was all, we're going to do this and that and that, and I was just blown away. I was just like, oh my God. And I recognized, I came up, I showed up to the meeting kind of all tense, and like, I don't know if I can trust these people. And then you earned my trust. You earned my trust. So
we will keep earning that trust.
Right. This is the thing. This is the real thing. Thank you, Kosa. And thank you to Gabriel, Sashini, everybody for so much support, and just this community, the togetherness feeling. You succeed in creating it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you. That means a lot to me. And I think, trust is earned every single day in every single decision and every single action. And I think, Lizzie, that's a great way to end is, how do every single one of us take the inspiration, the clarity, the experiences, the sharings, right, that we heard from Jerome, Jessica, Frederick, N.A., and Lisi, and use this to just be, even if we could all be just 1% more aware, 1% better, 1% more connected to each other. Because I think you're exactly right, Lizzie. I think change will move at the speed of trust. Our togetherness will be directly related to the fact and the belief that we can trust each other, all of us together in our beautiful difference. This community is audaciously, incredibly diverse. And each of us live in a very, specific lived reality. And so sharing and listening to each other's stories, building trust, one small action at a time, hearing where we screwed up, where we got something wrong, and then trying to figure out how to make it better, being forever learning about each other's experiences, even as we live our own. That's what we want to do together. That's what we want to keep figuring out. And again, every night I go to sleep thinking about what an adequate level of resistance is, what the right response is strategically. And we will co-design it as a community. We will figure out what our shared resistance is. But what I know for sure, so we'll end as we started, is that we got to do it together. And every one of your economic agency is in and of itself an act of resistance. You succeeding, you hitting your financial goals, you being financially independent, you becoming the leaders that the world needs. That is, I think, an incredible form of resistance. And so we're committed to making sure this community is profitable and sustainable, that all of your economic power grows. And we're committed to being in it together. And then we'll keep figuring it out. Whatever else we need to do, we'll learn and we'll grow and we'll figure it out together. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Jerome, Jessica, Frederick, N.A., Lizzie, thank you. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for experiences. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being so high performing. It really is a pleasure to be in relationship with all of you. And it is a pleasure to be in community with every single person in this room. So thank you for staying late. Sometimes when you're together, you just got to stay a little longer. Sometimes sometimes you don't want to go. Sometimes you just got to hang out a little longer. You never want to leave a good party too soon. But thank you for sticking around, and to be continued. Thanks, guys.